Good morning and happy Thanksgiving to all of you wonderful people out there. I wanted to do this because Dane has talked about it, and why not? I have this microphone that sits right in front of me. I don't know if you can see it. And I have all the equipment. You can see the big speaker in the back. And so why not? Here we are. I said it again. Why not? That's the third time. So this is my book, Unicorn Startups by Brandon Byung-hyu, and we'll be reading this, I believe, in Dane Spaces. But I thought I would read the initial part of the book, the prologue, and maybe even some of the acknowledgments here today, since this is recorded. I spent a few months writing this. Honestly, it's been years in the formation, but I truly wanted to write something that could impact society because it is very interesting how these days here in 2025, a lot of companies are being built at a speed that's frankly ridiculous. And I think we need to stop and question ourselves. But before we start analyzing all the different things to make this world much better in these efforts to build these iconic companies, I thought I would at least tell the story or help write the story that these companies navigated and did all these pivots and did whatever it was in order to become $1 billion or more. Well, this valuation and this title of unicorn has been placed upon these folks because of the fact that they were able to garner as much as they have in terms of valuation. I think there's something very, very deep and important about their story. And that's why, again, I thought I'd start with this as far as my initial dive and analysis and share to all of you. So anyway, with all that said, and without further ado, let me read the prologue of Unicorn Startups, the special DNA building the future. Sorry for the delay. The prologue, fortunately, isn't that long, though. That's B as in billion. Sorry, prologue, the velocity of dreams. That's B as in billion. The photograph was taken on a Tuesday, on October 6, 2010, to be precise, a date that would be marked in the annals of technological history. But that particular Tuesday, in a small office in San Francisco, south of Market District, Kevin Systrom had no inkling that he was about to capture lightning in a bottle. The photograph itself was unremarkable, a golden retriever sitting near a taco stand. What it made it extraordinary was that it was the first photograph ever shared on a new application called Instagram. Within 2 hours, that single image had been liked by dozens of users. Within a week, the app had been downloaded by 25,000 people. Within 2 months, 1 million. And within 18 months, a period of time so brief, it barely registers in the traditional arc of the business development, Instagram had been valued at $1 billion. To understand the magnitude of this achievement, consider what it took the Ford Motor Company to 22 years to reach a comparable valuation. McDonald's, 17 years, and even Microsoft, 9 years. But Instagram, 18 months. Coming a new beginning. 3 years later, in a glass-walled conference room overlooking Sand Hill Road, Aileen Lee was trying to solve the problem of nomenclature. Lee, a partner at Kleiner Perkins, Caulfield and Byers, had been studying privately held companies that had reached valuations exceeding $1 billion before going public. They weren't just successful startups. They were something else entirely. She settled on a word that seemed essential about the nature of these entities: unicorns. Like the mythological creatures from which they borrow their name, these billion-dollar startups were supposed to be impossibly rare. When Lee published her analysis in November 2013, she identified exactly 39 such companies in the entire world: Facebook, Twitter, Airbnb, and lesser known entities that would later become household words. That was 2013. By 2025, there would be more than 1,200 unicorns, with the collective valuation exceeding $4.3 trillion, a sum larger than the GDP of Germany or the United Kingdom. The impossible had become, if not commonplace, then at least familiar. But that statistical avalanche obscures a more intriguing question. How did certain companies, the thoroughbreds among an already elite class, achieve billion-dollar valuations, not in years, but in months? What was the secret formula that allowed them to transmute startup enthusiasm into staggering wealth at velocities that would have left previous generations of entrepreneurs breathless? This is the investigation at the heart of our investigation, rather the question. Sorry. Perfect $1 billion storm. The internet changed everything, but not immediately. The fundamental architecture of the internet had been in place since the 1990s. Yet it was not until the 2010s that we witnessed the true velocity unicorns. The companies that achieved billion-dollar valuations with a speed that seemed to violate the laws of commercial physics. By the 2010s, several forces had converged. Capital abundance, venture capital in the United States grew from 23 billion in 2010 to 329 billion in 2021, a 14-fold increase in just over a decade. Money was hunting for opportunities. Network effects. Social media platforms had demonstrated that certain digital products became more valuable as more people used them, creating a self-reinforcing cycle that would propel companies from obscurity to ubiquity in months. Global reach. Unlike their predecessors who had to expand market by market, the unicorn class could launch globally from day one. Founder ambition. And perhaps the most crucially, I'm trying to do this all in one take. Perhaps most crucially, a new generation of entrepreneurs had watched companies like Facebook and Google grow from dorm room projects to global phenomena within a handful of years. They understood that building something of immense value very quickly was possible. 10 beautiful spaces. The companies whose stories fill the following pages are what we call velocity unicorns, entities that reach billion-dollar valuations faster than the already accelerated average. Where the typical unicorn might require 6 or 7 years, these companies did it in 3 years, 2 years, sometimes less than 12 months. They are organized into 10 categories: social media, mobility, fintech, artificial intelligence, workplace, sharing economy, creator economy, education, healthcare, and space. Being enormous. This book is not a comprehensive catalog of every company that achieved rapid unicorn status. We have selected 30 companies across our 10 categories, choosing stories that illuminate different aspects of the velocity phenomena. Some of these companies were led by serial entrepreneurs who knew the playbook. Others were founded by first-time founders who were making it up as they went. Some invented entirely new categories. Others took existing business models and executed with them with such skill and speed that they left competitors bewildered. What they share is this: they all achieved something that should have been impossible. And in studying how they did it, the decisions they made, the risks they took, the lucky breaks, and the near-death experiences, we can begin to understand how the entire landscape of entrepreneurship has transformed. The rules have changed. The timelines that previous generations took for granted no longer apply. In the velocity economy, windows of opportunity open and close with break-taking speed. The gap between success and failure can be measured in months rather than years. This creates enormous opportunities and enormous risks. For every Instagram or OpenAI, dozens of companies burn through hundreds of millions of dollars in mere months. The stories that follow are survival stories, accounts of companies that move fast without breaking the most important things. Breaching velocity. In the autumn of 2013, when Aileen Lee first identified those 39 unicorns, she was documenting something that was already in the past. But here in 2025, we are standing at the beginning of something that has not yet fully materialized. In the past 15 years taught us that companies can reach billion-dollar valuations in months rather than years. What might the next 15 years reveal? What new forms of value creation are taking shape around the world? The companies in this book moved at velocities previous generations would have considered impossible. They achieved scale that violated traditional assumptions. They created wealth at pace that seemed to bend the rules of economic gravity. Today's impossible may be tomorrow's baseline expectation. Welcome to the age of velocity. The prologue of unicorn startups. Hope you enjoyed. Hope that's edifying in one way or another. And sorry for all the mistakes and tripping over my words. But happy Thanksgiving here in 2025, the first year of Unicorn Startups. It's actually the first in the series of Startup Mastery. I'm actually writing about, I don't know how many books, but I just completed the last one last night, or at least the first draft of Startup Unicorns, or sorry, not Startup Unicorns, but rather Unicorn Founders. So the next book in the series is most likely going to be Unicorn Founders, focusing on consumer retail. And I'm going to profile 15 CEOs and founders of different unicorns in the retail sector that touches many other sectors. So expect that out. I'm thinking I'm going to try to publish it on December 12th, 12/12. So look out for that. It will be in the Mastery series. And again, I hope you all are with your loved ones. Unfortunately, I'm not, as you can see, but I'm blessed to have the most lovely family member in the whole world, my future wife. And so, Nez, thank you for being there. And yeah, that's about it. I'll talk forever if I don't shut up now. Again, happy Thanksgiving. Hope this year, 2025, was a good one for you, and hope 2026 is even better.